Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Otome.com podcast. I'm Morik.
And I'm Loverlands, and today we're gonna cover another exciting upcoming game in the Otome.com.
So, today we're talking about Celestine 1 to 11, which has its demo out right now. It was made by a small team, and they started off at the Game Jam. That's also pretty much the origin of the project they're working on right now.
We heard a lot of stories about different teams and studios started from game jams, but what's very interesting about this one is that that's their actually first game jam, and they, as far as I know, didn't expect to create something so good, something that is actually so successful.
Yeah, it was quite surprising for their first game ever. They have just from the demos they've released, have quite a good amount of following and people excited for the upcoming fall release. We have an idea when it's coming out. We had an interview with them. They gave us a bit of a date. We'll talk about it later.
So stay tuned to the end because we're going to talk about some exciting sneak peeks from the game development, and we're going to discuss some stuff that were not discussed before about this project.
Let's start by discussing the art. And oh boy, is the artwork of the game gorgeous.
Yeah, it has this delicate art style. Like, it's not entirely anime. We don't have the borders we usually see. Contour?
The outline.
The outline is so delicate and makes the art so cozy in a way to see it.
Yeah, the character art. I also really love these pastel colors that they use for the characters. Well, the whole world as well, but it stands out on the characters especially. It's amazing.
Very cozy, very nice. Cute, definitely.
Yes, cute. And when I was talking to Space, they did mention that one of their main inspiration is Square Enix, which, looking at the games Square Enix has released, I'm not surprised. The aesthetic is definitely there, and Space did say they were aiming for that beauty. They wanted, before anything else, the game to be pleasant to look at, and just beautiful. And it does really remind me of Kingdom Hearts a bit, some aspects.
You know what I found actually very interesting is the pixel art part of the game, like the whole exploring and actually gaming outside of the story is pixel art style. And I'm not a huge fan usually to those stuff, but here they managed to do it in a quality aspect. And it's actually enjoyable, even though it's pixel art. Like it has a balance between the cozy sprite art that they have with this delicate design and everything, and then we have the pixel art that brings us the other stuff, the city, the gardens, the monsters, the mechanic of fighting those monsters, like the mini game inside the Otome game.
Oh yeah, we
itself.
should definitely get to mention the combat later on. I actually want to say I do actually love pixel art, but I don't always see games that merge pixel art and traditional CGs as well as Celestine does here.
Oh, there was this one game that I played. It was a roguelike game. They did the same thing, but it was in a darker aspect, so it was cool there, but it's definitely something
A different tone.
It's not something that we see that often in games in general, not only in visual novels.
Yes.
We mentioned the combat systems.
Yes, the combat system. So it's quite simple, which I think is actually a good thing, because a lot of Otome fans are not used to complex combat, and it might even scare off many fans. But this one is quite straightforward and easy to understand. You have attacks, you have spells.
It's turn-based. It's not just mindless fighting a monster. It's just part of the story. So it actually brings more content to the game.
Yes, and as you mentioned, since it's turn-based, there's not that pressure of being in a fight. You can take your time, make your decisions. And most of the time, the correct choice on how to proceed is fairly obvious. So You won't get stressed out on, oh, who should I attack right now and how should I proceed?
Turn-based combat is something that we start to see a lot in games lately. For example, even Baldur's Gate. In Baldur's Gate, you get that kind of pressure, even though it's turn-based. You get that kind of pressure of having to do the right thing so you can progress into the story. But here, the fighting mechanics and the fighting part of the game is not so important, or at least that's how it feels. Like it's just an addition to the story.
Yeah, which is, again, it fits more the Otome genre.
I wanted to mention something about the tutorial, by the way. Me, it felt very intuitive. You have not only the whole tutorial of the game, it just gets you into the middle of everything. They don't really explain you anything, but you have the hint system. Every time you don't know what to do, you can just go and interact with how it's called, Secta, the character. I'm not sure the way the name is pronounced. And you can talk to him and he will tell you what to do. But even if you don't do that, it's quite intuitive and you know where to explore the town. And you know that from the conversation you had before with the character. And when it comes to the fighting, you get this first fighting tutorial kind of thing. And everything is pretty straightforward.
So, yeah, I actually got a few hints by accident because I was just exploring around to see all of the town and areas that I was not supposed to be going yet, trying to enter them. And since I was taking my time, I accidentally, while trying to interact, and I got a hint, and it felt like
He was like, go to the garden.
I don't want to go to the garden. I want to look at the pretty city.
Yeah, and when it comes to that, we're mentioning here, like the city is very pretty. And the colors are vibrant, and the whole pixel art decision actually is a good thing because a lot of gamers can afford to play the game, even if they don't have the best setup.
Yeah, it's pretty light, isn't it?
It is very tiny.
Which, most Otome games are, but nowadays when you're used to games coming out 60 gigabytes, yeah, it's nice when you see something that's under a gigabyte. Full version might not be, but
Still impressive. Still impressive even though it has very tiny amount of megabytes in it.
yep. But enough about the art. Let's move on to the love interests. Now, in the demo, you can really only properly interact with one. We already mentioned his name, Secta.
And you can interact with Ambrose?
I was going to get to that, but yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, but I find Secta a very interesting character. He looks you in the face and lies to you, knowing that you know that he's lying.
It's a
one
conflict. It's a conflict thing because the Secta as a character, he is your mentor, and you're supposed
Yep.
to trust him with everything. At least that's what I got from the story because it just put me into the middle of it, and I had to.
I just think he's extremely prideful and doesn't wanna.
Very confident as well.
Not sure about confidence. His confidence it had a bit of a hiccup when Ambrose appeared.
It's understandable, I think.
But Secta is very prideful. He is, I think, from what we can see, he does feel like a nice dude. Just one that would not openly acknowledge a mistake unless you pressure him into it.
Yeah, we know real people acting like that as well, so it's it's relatable.
As for Ambrose, we already teased him a bit. You only meet him for a bit in one of the shops that is, I think it's going to be when the full game releases, selling healing items. He is a physician and he does cure a wound that you get during the first fight.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's not that much of a spoiler. It's 30 minutes into the game, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And also you get a CG with Ambrose as well.
Yes, you do get a CG with him. And he looks like a vampire.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit.
I think that in the interview, Space Team mentioned something about adding 2 more love interests, right?
Yes, there are going to be 4 in total. And they did reveal a little bit of information about one of them, Noxa. It's his name. He's going to be a paladin. Space did mention that the archetype they're going with him just a self-sacrificing good person,
He is a paladin.
which does allow. Yeah, it is a paladin. A paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you hear that word, you get on it. We didn't get too much information on him, but that's still quite heads up of what to expect. As for the 4th one, we know nothing about them. They're keeping their cards tight behind the 4th love interest.
By the way, here's the moment that we have to mention that Space Team are actually hiring people right now. So if you guys want to be a part of their team, this is the moment. You just got to head to their HIO page and see. I think they're hiring some artists and some people to the marketing position, editors and writers as well. And the good part is that they mentioned that they're gonna have a Kickstarter campaign soon. And I believe that this is gonna be big. Like, I think that their success is coming.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be successful. They do have already a community around the game. They do have a fan base, and it is the base. And it is a very promising game. The art style is also very attractive. Just looking at over a glance is probably going to catch your attention.
And actually, the demo surprised the developers, even the developer. They didn't expect to create something like that. So it's a good sign. And what time about we're expecting the full game? I think that they mentioned that in the interview.
The goal is for it to be out within a year and a half, but right now they don't have a solid release date. It's a flexible goal, but it is what they're aiming for.
That sounds soon enough.
Soon enough, yep.
And the last topic we need to cover today is the exclusive concept art they shared with us.
They were nice enough to give us exclusive images from the early stages of the game, of its development, and honestly, really good. Like, you can see how the characters evolved from the early designs and what parts they kept and what they didn't.
Yeah, as far as I can see from the early access, not early access, how it's called, like early pictures, early exclusive content, something like.
The alpha stage concept art.
Yeah, the alpha stage of concept arts. I can see that Celestine changed her hairstyle a lot till they decided on the double buns and the long hair.
The long hair, yep.
And they changed the way her clothes look as well a lot.
Yes.
But the end result is very good.
It is. I actually like the short hair design.
So yeah, it's cute.
It's good. Maybe if it's a variant you can get.
Oh, that could be nice. I would love to have her
To
outfit
choose
in
how
purple.
style.
I
Yes.
love purple. I want her to be in purple.
Maybe that's something we're planning.
We will see when they get the campaign out. Could be a stretch goal. I don't know.
We also got some concept art of Sector from the early stages. The vibe is still there, but he did look quite different.
He changed a lot here.
The sleeves were way puffier during one of the drawings. I like it.
And as far as I can see, he has a corset. He also looks like a vampire, by the way, with that
Because
puffy
yep.
sleeves and everything. So I guess they have a thing for that aesthetic.
Maybe. But no, Ambrose just had the whole thing going on.
So yeah, if you haven't tried the demo of Celestine, you should definitely, because it's a very promising, cute game, like easygoing game that you can lose a couple of hours in. And
And it's not that long. It's I think I mentioned it, an hour and 20 minutes. So it's definitely worth your time, and you can get a good idea if you'd be excited for the full release.
yeah, and I guarantee that if you check the game, you will probably want to support the team, and they deserve it. Like, they did a great job.
Yeah, small dev teams like that. It's always, I swear, out of nowhere, you sometimes get these people you've never heard about just make awesome indie game that then goes on to get a large following.
That's how actually. That's why actually people started playing indie games more than AAA top articles.
Yeah, nowadays it does feel like the indie scene is taking over the AAA one.
For a reason, because it's indie studios are enthusiastic of making a game for the game, not for the money. That's how it works usually. Okay, so I think we can wrap this up. Thank you for listening to the Otome podcast, and see you next time when we're gonna cover something interesting.